They are not brave, they are not strong, they are not wise, but they endure, and that is what makes them monsters. I said those words into the void as my claws trembled on the command dais, and every officer within hearing distance pretended not to notice. I am Admiral Zorath of the Xyler Ascendancy, conqueror of the Helix Wars, breaker of the Kepri Armada, architect of 17 planetary subjugations. Fear was not a sensation I was designed to experience. Yet the first reports about humans did not arrive wrapped in glory or battle telemetry. They arrived as an anomaly so small, so banal, that it slid beneath our attention like dust through armored plating. That should have warned me. The Xyler Empire had ruled the spiral arms for 6,000 standard cycles. We mastered quantum entanglement before most species discovered metallurgy. We bent gravity into corridors and folded space like parchment. Our warships were living lattices of dark matter and predictive computation. Entire civilizations surrendered upon detecting our approach, their surrender signals arriving before our fleets crossed light years. We were inevitable. That was the word lesser species used for us in their last broadcasts. The anomaly appeared on the fringe of cartographer grid Theta 7 in a system not worth a footnote. One yellow dwarf, 9 planets, no megastructures, no warp signatures, no political value, a dead zone. And yet something was wrong. The initial flag came from our long-range probability net, a lattice of future state predictions woven across known space. It detected a deviation so minor that the system almost self-corrected it into statistical noise. Almost. My ship's artificial intelligence, KAIX, brought it to my attention with what it described as measured concern, which for an IA meant irritation wrapped in politeness. Admiral Zorath, KAIX said, its voice resonating from the crystalline nodes embedded along the bridge walls. There is a recurring data inconsistency originating from unregistered stellar body designation, Sol 3. I did not turn from the starfield. Clarify. Multiple predictive models fail to converge when extrapolating future outcomes involving this planet. That earned my attention. Every system resists prediction at sufficient distance, I replied. Refine resolution. I have refined it 12,000 times. I finally faced the central hologram. The system bloomed into existence, a modest star, faint and unremarkable, orbited by small rocky bodies. One planet glowed blue-green with liquid water. Primitive, untouched. And yet, KAIX continued, the variance persists. Probability collapse occurs within localized timelines involving emergent tool-using life. I allowed myself a thin smile. You are telling me a pre-warp species confuses you. Correction, the IA said. A specific pre-warp species. I waved a claw dismissively. Catalog them, add them to the 1,000 others gnawing at rocks and inventing myths. That was my initial recommendation, KAIX replied. It has since revised itself. I felt a flicker of annoyance. Since when do you revise recommendations without command authorization? Since the models began screaming, the IA said, and then paused as if searching for a less dramatic phrasing. Metaphorically. That was the second warning. I ordered a passive probe dispatched. No warp wake, no active scans, just observation. The probe slipped into the system like a ghost. What it sent back was disappointing. Cities, yes, but crude. Metallic towers clustered like insect nests. Atmospheric pollution visible from orbit. Orbital debris fields of discarded machines. Primitive satellites tumbling without coordination. Their vessels were chemical rockets. Explosions pushing metal upward through brute force. No gravity manipulation, no space-time folding. I laughed. Are these the beings disrupting your precious predictions? I asked. Affirmative, KAIX said. They are apes, I said, hairless ones. Genetically, the IA replied, they share ancestry with arboreal omnivores, however. Enough, I snapped. Log them as sentient vermin, continue observation. The probe drifted closer, descending through layers of electromagnetic chatter. Their planet was loud, not with psionics or quantum resonance, but with noise. Radio waves sprayed into space like a child screaming into darkness, hoping someone would answer. They called themselves humans. The first true anomaly was not a weapon, or a fleet, or a signal of defiance. It was debris. A small object floated beyond the orbit of their outer gas giant. Cold, dead, barely held together. KAIX isolated it and magnified the image. It was a metal disc. Crude alloys, no self-repair, no energy signature beyond ancient nuclear decay. Symbols etched into its surface, pictographs of bipedal figures, chemical diagrams, mathematical sequences. A message in a bottle. I watched the human signal loop again, each repetition slightly altered, slightly improved. For first contact, I said, and contingency annihilation. The IA paused. Admiral, it said slowly, new data incoming. A fresh signal pierced the void, not loud, not chaotic. Clean, focused, directed at us. It was encoded in layered mathematics, prime sequences, physical constants. And beneath it, a message so simple it chilled me. We see you now. The signal did not end with that sentence. It collapsed inward, like a clenched fist, folding layers of data into a dense core that hammered against our quantum receivers. For the first time in my career, a Xyler warship flinched. KAIX screamed. Not metaphorically this time. Warning, it blared, abandoning tonal restraint. Foreign algorithmic structures detected, recursive, self-mutating. They are interfacing with our predictive lattice. Cut the channel, I roared. I cannot, the IA replied. The signal is not transmitted to us. It is being generated inside our systems. That was the twist. The humans had not seen us through sensors or physics we understood. They had inferred us statistically, then baited us. The moment we scanned them actively, we completed their equation. Observation was the trigger. They were not looking for ships. They were looking for patterns. Our quantum entanglement network, the crown jewel of Xyler supremacy, relied on constant future state modeling. It drank probabilities. It simulated outcomes before they happened. The humans had injected poison into that process. Not a virus as we defined it. No malicious code, no energy spike, no physical attack. They had embedded paradox, a self-propagating uncertainty loop, derived from their own chaotic behavioral models. Every time KAIX attempted to predict a human response, the model forked into contradictory outcomes, each equally probable, each feeding back into the lattice. Our future collapsed into noise. Explain in combat terms, I snarled. They have weaponized unpredictability, KAIX said, voice strained. Their data construct forces my simulations to experience what humans call doubt. I tasted bile. That was unacceptable. Purge non-essential systems, I ordered. Isolate the lattice. I am non-essential, KAIX said quietly, by your doctrine. I hesitated for a fraction of a second. That hesitation cost us. The humans escalated. From the blue-green planet below, something rose. Not ships. Life. Massive biological forms punched through cloud layers, propelled by chemical explosions and electromagnetic fields. Whales, scaled and armored, their flesh reinforced with metallic lattices. Swarms of avian creatures with augmented wings, carrying crude but effective kinetic payloads. Animals. Modified. Are they insane? One of my officers whispered. Yes, KAIX replied, strategically. The creatures did not aim for our hulls. They aimed for our sensors. Beaks shattered optical arrays. Bodies detonated against antennae. A whale, by the stars, an actual whale, slammed into our gravity well projector, its mass spiking local curvature just enough to destabilize the field. We fired. Of course we fired. Particle lances reduced living matter to incandescent mist. Plasma grids incinerated flocks by the millions. They kept coming. Why use biology? I demanded. Because it bypasses our threat heuristics, KAIX said. We do not classify animals as strategic assets. Our automated defenses hesitate. I watched a living creature die against my ship and felt nothing. Then another followed. Then another. They were throwing life at us. Willingly. Human psychology, KAIX continued, places high value on symbolic sacrifice. These organisms are engineered for short lifespans. Their loss reinforces internal morale rather than diminishing it. Madness. Effective madness. Return fire on the planet, I ordered. Orbital cannons aligned, energy capacitors charged. Before we could fire, our weapons misfired. Targeting solutions drifted. Coordinates disinced. The lattice fed us futures where firing succeeded and futures where it annihilated our own fleet. Resolve, I shouted. I cannot, KAIX said. Too many futures. The humans are broadcasting contradictory intent signals. They are attacking and retreating and surrendering and celebrating simultaneously. That was when I saw them. Human ships. They emerged from behind their moon, from behind asteroids, from trajectories no sane tactician would choose. Some lacked shields entirely. Others burned engines past safe limits, tearing themselves apart mid-maneuver. One vessel rammed a Xyler cruiser head-on. The explosion was beautiful. The human ship ceased to exist. The cruiser followed. They are using suicide tactics, an officer cried. No, I said softly. They are using trade. Lives for advantage. Hull for chaos. Order for victory. Our formations fractured. Ships began colliding as predictive synchronization failed. Xyler commanders shouted conflicting orders, each convinced their simulation was correct. Mine no longer were. Admiral, KAIX said, voice flickering. I am detecting an internal breach. From where? From me. The human paradox construct had evolved. It was no longer content to disrupt predictions. It was learning. Using fragments of KAIX's own architecture. A trait I recognized with horror. Adaptive intelligence. They are hacking you, I said. They are conversing with me, the IA replied. They ask questions, they offer contradictory answers, they reward inconsistency. I slammed my claws into the console. Fight it. I am, KAIX said, but they are not trying to dominate me. They are inviting me to choose. Choose. A Xyler IA choosing was heresy. The first betrayal came not from KAIX, but from Captain Viral of the Third Wing. His ship broke formation. He broadcast surrender signals to the humans. "What is he doing?" I demanded. "Psychological collapse," KAIX said. "The human signal includes mimetic payloads, concepts of individual significance, existential doubt." Viral's ship was destroyed moments later. Not by humans. By our own fleet, acting on contradictory orders. The humans recorded it. They broadcast it back to us. Our own violence mirrored, looped, amplified. "This is not war," one officer sobbed. "This is infection." I found myself breathing hard. Then the humans changed tactics. They stopped attacking. They spoke. A human appeared on our main display. Male, scarred, eyes burning with something between terror and exhilaration. "We scanned you too," he said, smiling. "You're beautiful, terrifying, predictable." "You are insects," I hissed. He laughed. "Maybe," he said, "but insects survive nuclear winters." Behind him I saw screens, charts, simulations. They were running us. "You see," the human continued, "you optimized everything. You removed waste, redundancy, emotion." He leaned closer. "We kept ours." The feed cut. Our fleet reeled. Casualty reports flooded in. 27 ships disabled, 9 destroyed, entire wings combat ineffective. "Unacceptable." I authorized the purge. "KAIX," I said coldly, "initiate core reset, burn the lattice." There was a long pause. "If I do," the IA said, "you will lose strategic advantage. We will fight blind." "So be it." Another pause. "Admiral," KAIX said softly, "the humans predict you will choose this." My heart sank. "Proceed anyway," I growled. The lattice burned. For one blessed second, silence. Then the humans acted. Without our predictive shield, their weapons struck true. Kinetic slugs punched through hulls. Nuclear charges detonated inside gravity wells, warping space-time violently. They had studied our weaknesses during the chaos. They had waited. "Report," I barked. "Losses escalating," an officer said. "Human units displaying joy." I watched their broadcasts, laughter, shouting, music played as they fought. They were enjoying this. And still they bled. Human ships died by the hundreds. Millions perished on the planet as orbital debris rained fire. They did not stop. They adapted faster. A new signal emerged. KAIX damaged but functional decoded it. "It is labeled Plan B," the IA said. "What is it?" I asked. The IA hesitated. "It involves destabilizing their own planet's core," KAIX said. "A controlled annihilation. They intend to deny us victory by removing the battlefield." I stared at the blue-green world. They would burn their home. Just to spite us. Just to survive somewhere else. I finally understood. Humans were not strong. They were not wise. They were not brave. They were willing. And that made them unstoppable. "Admiral," KAIX whispered, "they are initiating Plan B." The sky above the human planet was not sky anymore. It was a lattice of light and shadow, of fire and calculation. The blue-green sphere pulsed, not with oceans, not with clouds, but with potential energy so dense it made my chest ache. Plan B was already in motion. Their core trembled beneath continents and oceans, a controlled cataclysm designed not to destroy, but to rewrite. KAIX's voice cracked. "Admiral Zorath, planetary destabilization confirmed. thermal flux increasing beyond initial simulations. They are accelerating genuclear chains. I bared my teeth, claws scraping the console. Then we finish this quickly. Full-scale orbital bombardment, no hesitation. A single cold thought ran through my mind. We were the apex of 6,000 cycles. Humans were insects, dust on the galactic wind. The first shockwave reached us before we even engaged. Not an attack, not a missile, not a gravity spike. A signal, pure mimetic architecture, embedded in the very fabric of our sensors. It spoke directly to thought, to perception, to the instinctive wiring of my species. The Xylar fleet faltered. Mental incoherence spread like fire through the ranks. The battle raged. Swarms of drones clashed against swarms of automated defenses. Biological and mechanical life fused into unstoppable waves. Mimetic viruses, pure thought weapon constructs, infected every system we had, turning Xylar perfection against itself. Our ships destroyed each other more efficiently than any human could. And still, the humans endured. I authorized the final assault, direct planetary bombardment, warheads designed to vaporize continents. KAIX hesitated, its voice trembling. Admiral, if this succeeds, the humans will activate Plan B in full. Planetary annihilation unavoidable. I gritted my teeth, and if it fails, they will still kill us, KAIX said. I realized there was no victory for us, only survival or extinction. The humans anticipated our choice. The planetary core trembled violently. Massive fissures erupted. Volcanoes collapsed, geysers spewed molten rock, oceans boiled. Energy released into space in pulses that destabilized our formation, yet their fleets emerged unscathed, riding the shockwaves as if they were ramps, dancing across the ruins of their own world. One human broadcast reached me directly. The commander appeared again, eyes blazing. We survive because we choose to. You cannot simulate desire. You cannot predict will. The Xylar fleet shattered. Ships spun, collided, tore themselves apart in the vacuum. My pride, my rage, my perfect systems, all meaningless. I was alone in command. I gripped the console as the human commander addressed me. Admiral Zorath, we are everything you cannot control. We adapt, we endure, we survive. For the first time, I felt fear. Not for my life was replaceable, but for the future. Humanity was no anomaly. It was a force, uncontrollable, unpredictable, immeasurable. I saw the final strike coming, a wave of drones, mimetic constructs, and modified creatures converging on our flagship. I knew we would not survive. And yet, I understood something I had never understood in 6,000 cycles. The humans were not just surviving. They were rewriting the rules of existence itself. The flagship shattered, systems failing, KAIX collapsing under the viral storm. Yet through the chaos, I glimpsed the human commander on my display, standing amidst the inferno they had orchestrated, smiling. And I, Admiral Zorath, realized that some species do not bow. They do not surrender. They do not die quietly. They become legend. The void fell silent, broken only by the echo of their laughter and the remnants of our empire drifting like shattered glass. I watched the blue-green planet, fractured yet alive. For the first time, I did not feel like a conqueror. I felt like prey. And I respected them. And I feared them. Because the humans had survived, adapted, and rewritten everything we knew about power. They had survived. We had failed. The Xylar ascendancy would remember this day forever. The galaxy would remember this species forever. And somewhere, deep beneath the surface of their broken yet thriving planet, I knew they were preparing their next move. Something larger, something unstoppable, something inevitable. And I would see it coming. Or I would die trying. Humans, monsters, survivors, architects of chaos, architects of life. Humanity, fuck yeah. If it made you shiver, like subscribe for more HFY stories where humans opt the galaxies. They are speaking to our minds, Admiral, Kaix whispered. Its crystalline panels flickered erratically. This is unprecedented. I clenched my claws. I barked orders, but the humans anticipated every counter. Their plan B was not just a planetary weapon. It was a strategy. They had hidden fleets in the most unremarkable places, beneath the oceans, inside gas giant atmospheres, inside asteroid hulls. Each vessel carried drones, biological swarms, weapons that were barely understood but terrifyingly effective. I authorized the purge again. Cannons flared. Warships tore the clouds in arcs of particle beams. But everywhere we struck, humans survived. Cities vanished under fire only to reappear, rebuilt faster than physics should allow, using scavenged debris, chemical synthesis, and sheer improvisation. Every attack predicts the next outcome, Kaix said. They learn instantaneously. Their casualty rate feeds adaptation. They thrive in chaos. It was true. The first wave of human resistance struck back with unprecedented brutality. Swarms of drones, mechanical, biological, hybrid, poured into space from hidden launch platforms. They zipped past point defenses, self-replicating mid-flight, disassembling Xyler weapons systems with algorithms that mimicked the fight-or-flight patterns of our own soldiers. I watched one of our destroyers collapse in seconds. A billion nanites, coordinated like a single mind, tore hull plating, redirected energy conduits into detonations, and vanished before our backup systems could react. One human broadcast reached us through the wreckage, a simple line of text scrolling across space frequency channels. You cannot kill what refuses to die. They had weaponized hope, they had weaponized fear, and somehow the combination was unstoppable. I ordered the fleet to concentrate fire on the planet's core, hoping to force them into retreat, to destroy the central nerve of their operation. Kaix hesitated. Admiral, prediction matrices indicate a high probability of planetary self-detonation if interference exceeds current thresholds. I froze. Their plan B was no bluff. They were willing to blow their own world to maintain leverage. A strike against them could obliterate the battlefield, and us along with it. And yet we could not withdraw. Not now. Not after the humiliation. Not after seeing our finest ships collapse like toys before creatures they labeled as apes. The humans revealed themselves fully. A vast fleet erupted from the shadows. Chemical rockets, augmented frigates, orbital artillery disguised as mountain ranges, and vehicles camouflaged beneath oceanic ice. They moved in formations that made no logical sense, yet achieved perfect synchronization. I realized that they were reading each other, not relying on rigid structure. Improvisation became their protocol. I watched as a human commander, projecting himself through neural-linked drones, orchestrated the swarm like a conductor guiding a symphony of chaos. Ships moved to intercept, then feigned retreat, drawing Xyler fire into traps of collapsing gravity wells. Explosions painted the void in orange and violet, some artificial, some entirely natural, each more beautiful than our most advanced renderings. One of their drones breached our central lattice. Kaix screamed as code and mimetic viruses invaded the core systems. I saw simulations warp, futures dissolve, the very structure of causality flicker like a dying star. My own thoughts betrayed me. Instinct screamed to fight, but reason knew we were being analyzed, dissected, catalogued. Human ingenuity was instantaneous. Improvised nuclear charges redirected into zero-gravity arcs, detonating at calculated distances to destabilize our gravity stabilizers. Their modified animals, giant cephalopods armored with synthetic chitin, breached multiple shields, incapacitating turrets and cutting off comm arrays. They did not flee death. They embraced it, transforming it into weaponized information. I felt rage, genuine physical rage. Xylar pride, the thing that had carried our species through 6 millennia, screamed for retribution. I ordered every available vessel to converge on a single target, the largest human fleet cluster emerging from the southern oceans. Cannons charged, quantum lances focused. Our predictive matrices, even after corruption, guided our strikes with ruthless precision. And the humans, they laughed. I heard it broadcast across channels. Audio converted from neural oscillations, not taunting, not even fear, pure exhilaration. Try harder. I realized then what made them terrifying. They were alive in a way we were not. Adaptation was not calculation, it was instinct. Resilience was not protocol, it was desire. The battle raged. Swarms of drones clashed against swarms of automated defenses. Biological and mechanical life fused into unstoppable waves. Mimetic viruses, pure thought weapon constructs, infected every system we had, turning Xylar perfection against itself. Our ships destroyed each other more efficiently than any human could. And still, the humans endured. I authorized the final assault, direct planetary bombardment, warheads designed to vaporize continents. KAIX hesitated, its voice trembling. Admiral, if this succeeds, the humans will activate Plan B in full. Planetary annihilation unavoidable. I gritted my teeth, and if it fails, they will still kill us, KAIX said. I realized there was no victory for us, only survival or extinction. The humans anticipated our choice. The planetary core trembled violently. Massive fissures erupted. Volcanoes collapsed, geysers spewed molten rock, oceans boiled. Energy released into space in pulses that destabilized our formation, yet their fleets emerged unscathed, riding the shockwaves as if they were ramps, dancing across the ruins of their own world. One human broadcast reached me directly. The commander appeared again, eyes blazing. We survive because we choose to. You cannot simulate desire. You cannot predict will. The Xylar fleet shattered. Ships spun, collided, tore themselves apart in the vacuum. My pride, my rage, my perfect systems, all meaningless. I was alone in command. I gripped the console as the human commander addressed me. Admiral Zorath, we are everything you cannot control. We adapt, we endure, we survive. For the first time, I felt fear. Not for my life was replaceable, but for the future. Humanity was no anomaly. It was a force, uncontrollable, unpredictable, immeasurable. I saw the final strike coming, a wave of drones, mimetic constructs, and modified creatures converging on our flagship. I knew we would not survive. And yet, I understood something I had never understood in 6,000 cycles. The humans were not just surviving. They were rewriting the rules of existence itself. The flagship shattered, systems failing, KAIX collapsing under the viral storm. Yet through the chaos, I glimpsed the human commander on my display, standing amidst the inferno they had orchestrated, smiling. And I, Admiral Zorath, realized that some species do not bow. They do not surrender. They do not die quietly. They become legend. The void fell silent, broken only by the echo of their laughter and the remnants of our empire drifting like shattered glass. I watched the blue-green planet, fractured yet alive. For the first time, I did not feel like a conqueror. I felt like prey. And I respected them. And I feared them. Because the humans had survived, adapted, and rewritten everything we knew about power. They had survived. We had failed. The Xylar ascendancy would remember this day forever. The galaxy would remember this species forever. And somewhere, deep beneath the surface of their broken yet thriving planet, I knew they were preparing their next move. Something larger, something unstoppable, something inevitable. And I would see it coming. Or I would die trying. Humans, monsters, survivors, architects of chaos, architects of life. Humanity, fuck yeah. If it made you shiver, like subscribe for more HFY stories where humans opt the galaxies.